It was a night like any other in the quiet town of Ravenswood. The air was thick with an eerie stillness as the moon hung low in the ink-black sky. Unbeknownst to the residents, a stranger arrived, shrouded in darkness and cloaked in mystery. Victor Blackthorn, a charismatic and enigmatic figure, took residence in the long-abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town, casting a foreboding shadow over Ravenswood. Victor wasted no time integrating himself into the community. His charm and charisma were impossible to resist, drawing people into his orbit like moths to a flame. He established a reputation as a cultured and refined gentleman, hosting lavish soirees at his mansion. The town, captivated by his presence, remained oblivious to the subtle changes that began to creep over Ravenswood. As the nights passed, a series of unexplained disappearances unsettled Ravenswood. The townsfolk whispered of a malevolent force, a shadow that preyed on the unsuspecting. Each disappearance seemed to coincide with one of Victor's extravagant gatherings. However, his charm and influence shielded him from suspicion, and the town remained in blissful ignorance of the true nature of their charismatic newcomer. Amelia, a young artist, began experiencing haunting dreams. Night after night, she found herself wandering the moonlit corridors of Victor's mansion. A seductive voice whispered promises of immortality, tempting her with the allure of a life beyond the mortal realm. Amelia's once vibrant paintings now depicted scenes of blood-red moons and pale figures that seemed to dance in the shadows. As Amelia's dreams intensified, so did Victor's influence. The townspeople, ensnared by his charm, became entranced by the idea of immortality. Unbeknownst to them, Victor Blackthorn was a centuries-old vampire, and his mansion was a haven for those seeking the elixir of eternal life. The tainted allure of immortality cast a dark spell over Ravenswood, blurring the lines between the living and the undead. Amelia, torn between the haunting dreams and the reality of the town's descent into darkness, sought the counsel of an old scholar, Professor Elijah Cross. Together, they unraveled the ancient lore surrounding Victor Blackthorn. The professor warned of the dire consequences of succumbing to the vampire's allure, but the town, intoxicated by the promise of eternal life, dismissed their warnings. Victor announced a grand event, the Blood Moon Ball, a masquerade that promised an extravagant night of revelry. The townspeople, caught in the web of his influence, eagerly prepared for the event. The streets of Ravenswood transformed into a carnival of masks and flowing gowns, concealing the true intentions that lurked beneath the surface. As the blood moon cast its crimson glow over Ravenswood, the town square became a stage for a macabre spectacle. Victor, reveling in the chaos, revealed his vampiric nature. The once charismatic figure now stood as a harbinger of darkness, fangs bared and eyes ablaze. The townspeople, ensnared by his spell, succumbed to the vampiric allure, willingly offering their necks to the creature of the night. Amelia and Professor Cross, realizing the gravity of the situation, rallied those unaffected by Victor's charm. A small group of resistant townsfolk armed themselves with stakes and crosses, preparing for a desperate stand against the encroaching vampiric horde. The streets echoed with the clash of mortal and immortal, a battle that would determine the fate of Ravenswood. The night culminated in a cataclysmic clash between the mortals and the undead. The once charming streets of Ravenswood now bore witness to a war between shadows and torchlight. As the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, Victor and his vampiric horde recoiled in agony, their powers waning with the rising sun. The vanquished shadows scattered, leaving behind the wounded town to pick up the pieces. In the aftermath of the Blood Moon Ball, Ravenswood was left in a state of somber reflection. The once thriving town bore the scars of the vampiric invasion. Those who had fallen victim to Victor Blackthorn's charm now struggled with a cursed legacy, haunted by memories of the night that had forever altered their lives. The streets, once alive with the bustle of daily existence, now echoed with a pervasive sense of loss. Amelia and Professor Cross, having played pivotal roles in the town's defense, grappled with survivors' guilt. Their minds were haunted by the faces of friends and neighbors who had succumbed to the allure of immortality. The survivors, marked by the events of that fateful night, struggled to find solace in the shadows cast by the ever-present memory of the Blood Moon Ball. Investigating the mansion, Amelia and Professor Cross discovered a sealed crypt beneath its grandeur. Within, they found ancient coffins housing the remains of previous victims, each marked with the unmistakable seal of Victor Blackthorne. The crypt revealed a centuries-old legacy of darkness, suggesting that Ravenswood was not the first town to fall under the vampire's malevolent influence. As Amelia delved deeper into the crypt, she began experiencing searing visions of the vampire's past. Dark rituals, blood-soaked ceremonies, and a trail of towns left in desolation marked Victor Blackthorne's journey through the ages. The cursed legacy, it seemed, extended far beyond Ravenswood, and the vampire's insatiable thirst for immortality had left a trail of sorrow in its wake. Amelia's visions took a darker turn as she confronted the vampire's unquenchable hunger for blood. The curse that bound Victor to eternal night also enslaved him to an insatiable craving for the life force of the living. The towns he had once ruled as a charismatic lord now lay in ruins, victims of his unrelenting thirst. The curse, it seemed, was both a gift and a curse, a paradoxical existence that had damned Victor to an eternity of darkness. Driven by the need to understand the nature of the curse, Amelia and Professor Cross uncovered an ancient tome hidden within the crypt. The dusty pages revealed the existence of a tainted elixir, a concoction that granted immortality, but at a terrible cost. The elixir, derived from a malevolent source, had the power to bind the drinker to the cursed legacy, perpetuating a cycle of darkness through the ages. Armed with newfound knowledge, Amelia and Professor Cross sought a way to break the unbroken chains that bound Victor and his victims to the cursed legacy. The crypt, once a chamber of darkness, became a battleground for their quest for redemption. The survivors of Ravenswood, marked by the vampiric invasion, joined the fight, their collective determination serving as a beacon against the encroaching shadows. Amelia and Professor Cross, guided by the ancient tome, devised a ritual of liberation. The survivors gathered in the crypt, channeling their collective will to break the chains that bound Victor to the cursed legacy. The air crackled with supernatural energy as the ritual unfolded, and the ancient coffins trembled with unseen forces. The vampire's spectral presence, tethered to the cursed elixir, writhed in agony as the survivors chanted the incantations. In a burst of ethereal light, the chains that bound Victor to the cursed legacy shattered. The vampire, no longer enslaved to the insatiable thirst, faced the consequences of centuries of darkness. The survivors, marked by their resilience and determination, emerged from the crypt into the muted light of dawn. Ravenswood, once a town teetering on the brink of eternal night, now stood on the precipice of redemption. As the first rays of dawn kissed the town, a fragile dawn bathed Ravenswood in muted light. The cursed legacy, though not erased, had been severed. Victor Blackthorne, now freed from the shackles of immortality, faced the dawn as both a relic of the past and a symbol of the town's enduring spirit. The survivors, forever marked by the events that had transpired, stepped into the fragile dawn with a newfound strength born from the crucible of darkness. The fragile dawn, though casting its hopeful glow, revealed a town grappling with the aftermath of the ritual. Ravenswood, once ensnared by the vampiric curse, now stood at the threshold of redemption. The survivors, marked by the events that had transpired in the crypt, faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives and reconciling with the lingering shadows that clung to the town's cobblestone streets. In the wake of the ritual's success, the survivors of Ravenswood engaged in healing rituals. The town square transformed into a communal space where the once enslaved victims and the saviors alike sought solace and support. The fragile dawn witnessed a collective effort to mend the wounds inflicted by the vampiric invasion, both physical and psychological. As the survivors embarked on their journey toward healing, fractures within the community became evident. Trust, once shattered by the vampiric curse, proved elusive in the aftermath. The fragile dawn, though symbolizing hope, cast long shadows over the fractured unity of Ravenswood. The town's inhabitants, scared by the events that had unfolded, grappled with the delicate process of rebuilding trust and unity. Amelia, haunted by her visions of Victor Blackthorn's past, delved deeper into the secrets hidden within the ancient tomb. Cryptic passages hinted at a network of vampiric societies spanning centuries, each bound by the cursed elixir. The fragile dawn, though promising renewal, revealed the complex web of secrets that connected Ravenswood to a larger, supernatural tapestry. As Ravenswood cautiously embraced the fragile dawn of redemption, the lingering shadows resurge. Reports of mysterious occurrences and unexplained phenomena spread through the town like wildfire. Whispers of a new malevolent force, unfettered by the vampiric curse, sent shivers down the spines of the survivors. The fragile redemption seemed threatened by an unseen adversary, casting doubt on the town's newfound hope. Investigating the resurgence of shadows, Amelia and Professor Cross uncovered signs of a tainted resurgence. The malevolent force, born from the remnants of Victor Blackthorn's vampiric influence, sought to exploit the fragile bonds forged in the aftermath of the ritual. The survivors, once again thrust into this supernatural turmoil, faced the challenge of confronting a new adversary that seemed immune to the redemptive power of the fragile dawn. Faced with the threat of the tainted resurgence, the survivors reluctantly forged desperate alliances once more. The fragile dawn, now tainted by uncertainty, witnessed a renewed unity among the townsfolk. Armed with the knowledge gained from the crypt, the survivors prepared for a confrontation with the malevolent force that threatened to unravel the fragile redemption Ravenswood had fought so hard to achieve. The town square, once a symbol of communal healing, became the stage for a shadowed confrontation. The survivors, armed with newfound resilience, faced the malevolent force that lurked within the town's darkest corners. The fragile dawn, though weakened, served as a backdrop to the battle between redemption and the resurging shadows that threatened to cast Ravenswood back into the abyss. In a climactic confrontation, the survivors stood against the tainted resurgence. The fragile dawn, now flickering but not extinguished, bore witness to the collective resilience of Ravenswood. The survivors, guided by the lessons learned from the vampiric invasion, fought not only to protect their fragile redemption, but also to unveil the mysteries that lay hidden within the shadows. As the tainted resurgence dissipated, the survivors emerged from the shadows with unbroken resolve. The fragile dawn, though scared by the recent turmoil, cast its subdued light over a town that had weathered yet another supernatural storm. Ravenswood, marked by the events of its tumultuous journey, stood resilient in the face of the perpetual struggle between redemption and the encroaching darkness.